This is John Black, super chemist, talking about Germany. It's open borders. Is it an Islamic state just like England's going to turn into? It's 20% or more. That means 1 out of every 5 German is not a German. It's a third world, non-vetted illegal alien. Same way with Sweden and all the other countries in Europe. They're all 1/5 now of third world country people.
According to Google, 14% of the population right now in Germany is immigrant population or of immigrant background.
I think it's higher.
Higher? Let's call it 14 or higher. Yeah. And roughly 40% of the crimes are committed by that 14%. Why do you think that is? And
40% of the crimes. You get all these women are getting raped, and little girls are, and all these countries, including the United States, is just standing by saying, "Oh, that's okay." It's worth millions or hundreds of thousands of girls being raped as long as we don't get called racist. That's all that matters. I don't want to be called a racist. I'd rather have my little girl or my daughter or my mother be raped or murdered.
And is that a reason for concern?
Well, that still leaves 60% of crime on nationals, right? So it's
True.
Absolutely, if just by numbers, it's more local people, let's call it that. I mean, of course it's a cause of concern, but I don't think the cause of concern or the answer is shutting out immigrants.
Yeah, because why hurt someone like that when you can hurt them with getting raped or murdered or raped or something, you know? I mean, it's like, it's insanity that people don't care about they destroyed your family unit so bad that you don't even give a crap about your own daughter or your sister or your mother. That you're willing to just sacrifice them on the altar of diversity. Unreal. Like no pride or shame in doing that.
Propaganda campaign
None.
Designed
no
to stir
shame.
anger, division, and action. So who are Muslim Interactive? This is not just some fringe. Germany, the heart of Europe, is witnessing a troubling rise of extremism on its very streets. Over 2,000 radical Islamists gathered in Hamburg this past weekend chanting Allahu Akbar and calling for nothing less than a caliphate. Not in Syria, not in Iraq, but in Germany. A caliphate governed by Sharia law. Let that sink in for a moment. An open demand for a theocratic state in one of Europe's most democratic nations. What does this mean for Germany and more broadly for Europe? This isn't just another protest. It was organized by Muslim Interactive, a group linked to the notorious Hizb ut-Tahrir, an extremist pan-Islamist organization banned in Germany for promoting the eradication of Israel and advocating for the killing of Jews. Muslim Interactive may be relatively new, founded in 2020, but their agenda is clear and it's spreading fast. Their leader, Rahim Boateng, a man recently banned from teaching due to his Islamist ties, led the charge at this rally. Boateng and his group claim their version of the caliphate will bring peace, where Muslims, Christians, and Jews will live side by side. But their messaging tells a very different story. On Instagram, they declared that a caliphate is the only way to overcome what they call the colonial order. And they say it with conviction, caliphate, the end of occupation, extermination, genocide. Does this sound like peace or a thinly veiled threat to the current order? The group also took to social media, blasting out posts on X, accusing Israel of spreading lies about genocide, denying Israel's right to self-defense, and undermining historical claims to the land. It's not just rhetoric, it's a targeted propaganda campaign designed to stir anger, division, and action. So who are Muslim Interactive? This is not just some fringe group. They have over 20,000 followers on TikTok alone, where they've perfected the art of digital propaganda. Their videos are slick, professional, and often portray their leaders as modern, relatable figures. Through street surveys and flashy content, they tap into the frustrations of young Muslims, portraying themselves as defenders of a persecuted community. They exploit real issues like Islamophobia, but their ultimate goal is far from peaceful. It's about pushing a radical agenda, an agenda that includes the implementation of Sharia law and the destruction of Israel. Their influence is growing rapidly, especially among young people. The leaders of Muslim Interactive are celebrated like pop stars by students, eager to attend their rallies and meet their heroes. These students aren't just listening, they're engaging, mobilizing, and spreading this extremist ideology. But what's more concerning is the response, or rather the lack of it, from German authorities. Despite the clear extremist nature of the group, despite their affiliations with Hizb ut-Tahrir, a group banned across much of the world, Hamburg Police Chief Frank Schnabel says there's no legal basis to ban Muslim Interactive. Even the federal justice minister, Marco Buschmann, downplayed their actions, calling their calls for a caliphate politically absurd but not illegal. Absurd? Perhaps. But harmless? Absolutely not. This group is fanning the flames of division, radicalization, and unrest in Germany's streets. And the longer they are allowed to operate freely, the more emboldened they become. It's not just Muslim Interactive we should be worried about. Their parent organization, Hizb ut-Tahrir, has been pushing this radical agenda for decades. Founded in East Jerusalem, Hizb ut-Tahrir aims to re-establish the Islamic Caliphate and impose Sharia law across the globe. They're banned in Germany, the UK, and almost every Arab country except Lebanon, Yemen, and the UAE. So why is their affiliated group still allowed to organize and operate in Germany? Germany's leniency towards groups like Muslim Interactive is not just a national issue, it's a European one. Radicalization doesn't respect borders. Today it's a rally in Hamburg. Tomorrow it could be in Paris, Brussels, or Madrid. Is Europe prepared for the consequences of allowing such groups to operate in the open? Yes, freedom of speech is a cornerstone of Western democracy. But at what point does that freedom become a weapon used to dismantle the very system that upholds it? We've seen this story before. It starts with rallies, social media campaigns, and slowly the normalization of extremist ideas. But where does it end? Are German authorities waiting for violence on the streets before they act? Are they waiting for radical Islamists to gain even more followers, to push their dangerous rhetoric further into the mainstream? Christoph de Vries, a Hamburg Bundestag member, has been sounding the alarm, calling for a ban on this group. But his voice seems to be falling on deaf ears. What will it take for Germany to wake up? The bigger question for all of us is, when will Europe stand up to radical Islamists who openly call for the destruction of its values and its way of life? How long will authorities allow these dangerous ideologies to grow unchecked in the very cities that symbolize freedom and democracy? Europe cannot afford to remain passive. The threat is clear. The stakes are high. Will Germany and Europe as a whole choose to defend their future?
This channel is called Briefly on YouTube. Now in Germany you got two people, you got two sides. The left side that keeps saying that they hate Jews, they want to kill all the Jews, and then you have the right side, and the left is calling them the Nazis, while at the same time simultaneously saying all the Jews should be hunted down and killed. The doublespeak is so ridiculous. Oh my God, I used to think humans were so stupid. Now it's like, I gave you so much credit you shouldn't have gotten.
The immigrants are in Germany to make Germany an Islamic state.
In 2023, foreigners made up 15% of Germany's population, but accounted for 41% of all violent crime suspects, with 75% of the victims being Germans. As Germany is the third largest host of refugees, hosting over 2.5 million refugees, with almost half of all Germans believing refugees are no longer welcome, placing their hopes and their votes in the nationalist, anti-immigrant, far-right AfD party, causing them to win a regional election in the state of...
Keep in mind, far-right just means you're normal. It's just like far-right, racist, transphobe, Islamophobe, homophobe. All these words, all they mean is you're normal. Okay? They have no meaning anymore. Okay? And what's funny is the people calling the other side Nazis, they're the people that are saying that they should kill all the Jews. Like, really, you can't scream, we need to kill all the Jews, and then call other people Nazis. It just doesn't, it's too hilarious. You'll just make too many people laugh. The doublespeak is just beyond, it goes beyond doublespeak into comedy at that point, I mean.
Of Thuringia, and to make history as the first far-right political party to win in Germany. Many Germans believe their national identity is being destroyed, their generosity exploited, their culture degraded, and their country no longer safe as they mass import economic migrants and refugees into their country. Other Germans are fearful they're witnessing the rise of the Fourth Reich.
The Third Reich was Christians. course, they hated Jews. The hallmark of that's how you know. It's, the left is always Jew hating. Trump is loving Israel always. So you know who the Nazis are. Okay? Yeah, the Fourth Reich is they love Muslims this time. They're going to embrace the Muslims. But obviously, they wouldn't be Nazis if they didn't hate the Jews. Hallmark.
When there are signs of physical maturity, it becomes permissible for the husband in Islamic law to have marital relationships or consummate the relation with his bride. And this is the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Do you know what precocious puberty is?
Starting puberty unusually early.
Is there anything in Islam that prevents you from, a man marrying a 5-year-old that started precocious puberty?
You can arrange a marriage even as an infant, but that doesn't mean that sex is allowed.
Could a man have a marriage to a 5-year-old consummated if she started precocious puberty?
If she starts showing signs of physical maturity, then yes, that's permissible, as I said.
What about age 4?
If there are signs
3.
So this is something that becomes biologically impossible because
I have a
proclivity,
study that shows it goes as early as 11 months.
well, that's something that the parents would not. See, the thing about Islamic marriage is that parents are involved at these ages, and when you look at the marriage of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
He actually put a ring on her finger. He didn't know what finger to put it on. He put it on the wrong finger first. He put it on the wrong finger again. Then another person told him, actually, this little one here, close to the very end, is this one. Then he put it there. So they are forcing this girl. They are literally doing everything. Look at the guy strangling the girl. Look at this guy. He's strangling the girl, trying to knock her out. She went out. She passed out. Then she came back alive again. She came back conscious. She's crying. She's like, no, I don't want to get married to this old man. I don't want to. Sign. The aunties are like, sign this paper right now. Sign this paper right now. She doesn't want to get married. For God's sake. They are... I also want to show you this one being forced to sign her marriage certificate. So they are forcing this girl, they are literally